almost done, please. Okay, okay. In minutes, in a few seconds. Okay, so I hope. Okay. All right, back. All right, so these are the major things that we would be discussing for today. So let's just move straight away into data cleaning, right? So please, as we go on, put into mind the different topics that we've talked about, because when we talk about data cleaning, it is more or less a way of removing errors, fixing issues that you have with your data. They could come across in different ways. For example, what I have here, incorrect data or duplicates or incomplete data, right? So these are the many things that can come up. This session is more like having looked at what Excel could do, then we are now looking at what errors can come up and how to fix them. Remember our very first session and session 2, we talked about different types of formula errors, okay, different type of Excel errors as well. We talked about 6, I think, right? So these are the things that would inform the way that we would be fixing our errors. I tell you this, that no matter how good you are in Excel, errors are bound to happen. I mentioned previously, especially if you are collaborating with others, working Excel document either on clouds or you have to send soft copies across via emails, or you have to import data from other text documents like Notepad, like CSV. You do not have control over how Excel would format this data, okay? So for example, if I send a document to you and you import the data from that document into Excel, say from Notepad, the kind of formatting that Excel would dictate on this data would one be dependent on how I structure the data in the other documents, but more importantly, the kind of text documents that you're actually importing from. Okay, so that's why we have different issues that can come up, because I think somebody asked sometimes ago, like, if you're very good in Excel, why should you bother with errors and all of that? Why should you clean? You would have to work with raw data. So for example, imagine if you created a form on your website that your clients, they had to fill in, okay, or maybe a registration or something, or a product catalog, wherever. By the time you download this document and convert to Excel, or maybe even download in the Excel format, okay, they might not come out very well. So just look at what I have here. These are business schools. These are names of business schools. But you can actually see that they are not properly written, okay? They're not properly written. If you remember when we talked about test functions, so that should easily come to mind. So the first example we have, having defined what data cleaning is, as removing, fixing different kind of issues that your data set could have. It can be errors, it can be incorrect data, it can be duplicate, it can be wrong spelling, and then different forms, it can be wrong formatting, anything could happen. All right, so we're going to consider 10 different ways that we can clean our data. Don't forget, we talked about raw data earlier in session 1, raw data, proper data sets. I would recap again. Every proper data set has 3 characteristics. Okay, number 1, they have what we call headers or field names. Okay, so you can see business schools. Business schools is the header for this particular data. Okay, business school is the header or the field name. Another characteristics is that they must have empty cells all across. So you can see empty cells, okay? You can see empty cells at the bottom. You can see empty cells at the right side. You can see empty cells at the top as well. This is another characteristics to qualify for a proper data set. Right. The number 3 is that each record would be in a row. So we have one school, we have second school, we have third, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we could have, just like we have business schools, we could have, say, location, we could have their tuition rate, we could have their different headers, okay? We would now arrange them in rows and have our records in rows as well. So it means for every row, just like I have highlighted, we have what attributes that the header is calling. In this case, is calling business schools, which is a test string, okay? For example, we could have, say, resumption dates, which could be dates, all right? So the formatting, all in this column, what you'll be seeing is dates, okay? Next thing would determine, would be dependent on what you have as the header. So these are the major characteristics of a proper data set. It's very good that would recap, okay? So having qualifies for what we call a proper data set, okay? But it still doesn't make full meaning, because imagine if you are my boss and I'm sending this to you. It's very raw. Okay, you can see, for example, look at this, look at space here, look at this, look at space. Okay, these spaces, they matter. So because it's space does not mean it is empty. No, Excel actually reads spaces. Okay, so but we want to ensure that we put this data in the right context. So in the comment box, having talked about test functions, who can tell us the function that we would use? Anybody? Okay, love alabi, trim. Okay, another person, trim. Okay, are we using one function, or we are using more than one function? Okay, a number of persons have said trim. Okay, we would use trim. Is that how we're going to use? Proper. Thank you, Zainab. Yes, proper. Okay. Now I'm going to do this in quite a different way than we did previously. Okay. Also proper. Thank you, Ridwan. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is, somebody said trim. Okay. So let's see if trim would give us the right data that we want. Okay. So I'm going to call trim from Excel. By the time I type TR, Excel is already suggesting what it feels I want to use. Okay, but I'm not there yet. Is that I scroll down because I have seen it, or I complete the spelling and hit tab or double click on trim. So you can actually see the screen tip. Okay, remove all spaces from a text string except for spaces in between the words. So I'm going to click on this. Okay, sorry, there's an error here. I don't know why this is showing, but it's not meant to be. Okay, all right, so back again, I'll call trim, hit my tab, it's just one argument, okay, and I'll close. Now, I'll come to the edge, you know, and you have this undo fill. I'll double click. Now look at it very well. Is it proper? Is this data coming out well? Okay, so we have London Business School, we have Makerere University Business School. No, you can actually see the cases are still still as they were. All right, so we'll still have to do something. But now I don't want to go to another column and now do proper. So I want to do what we call nesting. Okay, nesting. I just put this in the comment box. Okay, so I'm going to nest proper. I'm going to nest either trim in proper or proper in trim. Okay, so whichever one. But in this case now I want to use proper. So I would put proper, okay, and proper. Okay, you can actually see that here. It's tab. Now it has one argument. So in this case, what I got when I trimmed, the entire result is going to be the test in this case. Okay. So all I need to do is just to close the argument and it. Okay. All right. All right. Is there any difference in this case? Anybody answering? Is there any difference? Okay, thank you. Yes, there's difference. Okay, so just recapping before we move on. Two things I have done: I trimmed, and I also using the trim function. I also use the proper function. But in this case, you remember the last time, we had to do it differently. But this time around, we are actually nesting. Okay, so we are nesting the trim, what we got from trim inside the proper function. Okay, so Excel allows you to nest. For example, I can go on and also nest with another function and on like that. Okay, all right, so that's our example one. Example one was for us to get rid of spaces and set each string in proper format. Okay, so let's move to our second example. Example number two. Okay, so I have a number of students and their scores in 4 subjects. But take notes, they actually did a maximum of 3 subjects. Okay, so you can actually do 3 subjects. You can actually enroll for 3 subjects, but I have the scores for 4 subjects because these are all the candidates, these are all the students in my class. Okay. All right, so let me show you from the top. Okay, so you can actually see that, for example, Abigail did not offer biology, okay, but offered chemistry, music, and further maths. If you look at Adekunle offered biology, chemistry, and music, but not further maths. Okay, so what is the goal here? We want to set and treat all blank cells. I do not like the way Excel is presenting or the way I have left my data having these empty cells, because anything could happen. Say, for example, somebody comes and inputs a score here, it has tampered with the record that I have. But I want to ensure that I fill something in these empty spaces without having to go to each of the spaces one after the other and be typing. I remember from the first session, one of the things that Excel helps us to do is to achieve efficiency. Okay, so even if I have 1,000 students and I have their records for their 3 subjects, I can, in a few seconds or maybe a minute thereabout, I can actually perform the same goal. I can set and treat all of the spaces that you are seeing, all of these spaces. I can actually fill them at once. Okay, so what do we do? Now, every time you want to highlight a proper data set, instead of you having to highlight with your mouse and then do control down, right? You can actually do that using your Control Shift 8. Okay, that's what I have here. Control Shift 8. All right, depending on the kind of system you are using, because the reason why we are using Shift on my computer is because 8 and asterisk is actually on the same button. So that Shift is to actually enable me use asterisk. So that's what you have here, right? So I can do Control asterisk if I can actually connect with asterisk directly. But what I want to achieve is Control plus asterisk. Okay, Control plus Shift 8. I have highlighted my data. All right. Now, next thing that I want to do is to go to special key. Right, I like the fact that Excel has a number of shortcuts that enables us to get to where we want to arrive, where we want to get to in the fastest possible time. Okay, so once you have highlighted your data, we want to approach special key. But before I show you, okay, it's actually written. I've written it down there, but you can actually go to Home, right, and There's a button here, right? It's called Find and Select. You can actually see it on the right side. Once you click it, you can see Go to Special, right? If I click on it, it takes me to this dialog box. Now, this is the dialog box that we want to make use of, right? But I don't always like to come to the menu, then go to the group, and now go to the dialog box that I want. So once you have highlighted your data, just press F5. It brings it out. Now, if you check properly, this is not what we saw earlier, all right? So you have to click Special, because we are not just going to go to. If you check in this place, you see go to, then you see go to special, all right? Please take notes. All right, so it's F5, then you click on special. Now, this is the dialog box that we need. What do we want to do with this dialog box? We want to treat the blank spaces, okay? So you hit blank, right? Now watch what is going to happen on this proper data set. Please just watch, be very observant. All right, so I click OK. What has just happened is that Excel has highlighted all the empty spaces on this proper data set. So at once I can enter anything on a cell, that very first one, and it will replicate the results or whatever input in all of the other empty cells, okay? All right, so for example, I want to type nil, or that's a test string, or I want to type maybe they didn't offer or not applicable, you know, or I want to put dash, or I want to even put 0, or let's say I want to give pass mark to everybody that did not offer the fourth subject. Say I want to put that 40, for example. All right. I'm not going to click enter. Carefully watch. I'm going to hold my control and hit enter. Watch what is going to happen to all of the empty spaces. Did you take notes? If you take notes, please type yes. Anybody noticed what happened? Okay, thank you. Now I'm going to undo. All right, I still have those empty cells highlighted. So I want to type nil. Now I'll hold my control and click enter. Can you see all at once? Excel has filled all of the empty space. So if you have 1,000 rows of data sets that has empty spaces, and you want to fill, okay, you don't have to be going to all of the empty cells all at once. I mean, one after the other. What you simply do is to make use of F5 that takes you to go to special key. All right, it will pop up a dialog box, and you'd actually select blank. Okay, so I think this is quite very straightforward. All right, so that's how to treat blank spaces. Somebody says magical. Yeah, it looks like magic, right? The magic behind all of this is actually the efficiency that you can achieve. Okay, I work with a lot of data, you know, as an HR professional and as a trainer, you know. So imagine I have employee records, you know, that are a lot of rows, or I have a lot of columns of data, you know, having to go one after the other, check where the empty cells is and all of that. Now, I challenge you, and that's why I said last session, you know, until you get your hands dirty with Excel, there are a number of other things that you may not understand. For example, you know, when I clicked F5, let me go back. Let me just click F5 to open that box for us. Look at this. I was just able to perform function on blank alone. Now imagine what you could do with comments, with constant. We're going to look at formula, okay? Now different rows, column difference, precedent dependence, and all of that. Until you actually work with examples that allows you to treat all of this as practical features, you may not be able to appreciate all of the things that Excel could do. Excel is magical. Excel is actually magical. All right, so now look at this. Something happened. Something happened. Okay, first session we talked about number formatting. So if you look at this very well, it's actually proper. But I think in the last session I forgot to make it improper. So I'll just make it improper by putting a leading apostrophe in, say, about 3 of the, the numbers, okay? For example, I have this. Now watch what will happen. It aligns immediately to the right, to the left. And I told you numbers in Excel align to the right. So for example, if I see this 75, I already know that Excel is not seeing this as a number, it's seeing it as a text. Why? Because you can actually see from the formula bar, there's a leading apostrophe for the number. Okay, so anytime there's a leading apostrophe before a number, it will be treated as a text string. Okay, so let me just do for say three more. Anything could, anything. There are different other ways to make it improper, but I'm just using leading apostrophe. But just watch where we are going. Okay, it's a practical session. All right, so I have this. This is a data set. You can see the space up, the space on this side is very important, very, very important. Don't take that for granted. All right, so what I want to do, I want to be able to convert all of these back to numbers without having to go back and be removing the apostrophes one after the other. If I have 1,000 of these in the same column, with a single operation, I can get the same result. Okay, so what I would do is, there are different ways to do it. So I'll select this data. Now, how did I even know? How do I know that this data is not correct? Now, let me do a logical function, a logical calculation for you that will show that this is not correct. For example, by just looking at this, I'll see that all of them are in 2 digits. So it means none of this is up to 100. So let me just type 100 here and then perform a logical operation. So I want to find out if any of these is less than 100, or maybe 100 is greater than. So that's logical or Boolean operation. I'll type equals to this. Let me start from this. Okay, equals to this. Now, I would lock because I want to be able to use absolute reference. Okay, so I'll lock with F4. Is it greater than this? Okay, I would enter. Now it says true. Right, so let's just check to see. Now you can actually see that for this that align to the left is false, is false, is false. Okay, it means, of course, you should know that 75 is lesser than 100. But in Excel, every test is assumed to be greater than numbers. Okay, so even if this is 1 million or 1 billion, this 75 is still greater than whatever you have here, because in Excel, it is treated as greater than numbers. Okay, right. So this is just a logical operation to check, and so we're able to confirm now that these three that align to the left, they are not numbers. Okay, so I can probably delete this or even just leave it. Let me delete. Okay. Now, how do we convert back to numbers? So you can see we've done, I think, 2 of these. There are 3 different ways, or maybe 4 or even more to do it, but we'll look at 4 here. Now, mathematically, you know that any number you multiply by 1 will give you that same number, right? That's 1. Number 2, any number you divide by 1, even if it is 1 billion divided by 1, will still give you that same numerator. Okay, that's number 2. If you add 0 to any number, it will still give you that same number. Okay, so these are just basic mathematics. Number 4, If you subtract 0 from a number, it will still give you that same number. Okay, so by the time we perform these 4 operations on this data, Excel will be able to convert it back to numbers. Okay, but I would not be going one after the other and say, okay, maybe I type one here and having to be multiplied. Just watch what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'll type one. Let's use one as the starter. Okay, so if I have one here, I would copy. Watch out. I would highlight my data. That's the number only. We are going to paste special. Paste special is under home. You can see home, paste, paste special. You can actually see on this place. Okay, so if I click on paste special, you're going to open up a dialog box. Now this dialog box would help us under this operation, then we can do any of these. So what I wanted to do, because I have highlighted, I have copied one. So I want to multiply all of them by that one. So if I click on multiply and click OK, all of them align to the right. Did you take note of what just happened? If you did, please type yes so that I can know. All right. All right, interesting. Okay, Charity. Charity did not take notes. All right, so watch again. I'm going to come again. All right, I'm going to come again. Let me undo. So we are clear already that the ones that align to the left are not numbers, okay? So we want to convert everything back to numbers. And then I've given you 4 tips here, okay? I've given you 4 tips that any number you multiply by 1 will give you that same number. So every time um, a data seems to be a test and you perform a mathematical operation on it, any of these are mathematical operations. So if you perform any of these 4 operations on all of these, it will convert it back to numbers. Don't forget, the goal is to actually get them back as numbers, okay? Because, for example, if you total this now, if you total this, it will not be equal to the right amount or maybe the right score. For example, say I want to find the average score of the candidates. I would not be able to get the accurate answer because 3 scores out of all the scores are not valid. Okay, so what I did was to input one in a separate cell, copy it. You can actually see the dots that are revolving around the cell. It means I have copied this. Okay, now I will go to the first cell on these numbers and copy down. There are different ways to copy down. Okay, all right. And you can see the note that I left here. Paste special is equal to Control plus Alt plus V. But I have just shown you where exactly on the menu that you can actually see it. It's in Home. You go to paste. You can see this arrow. Anywhere you see arrow or something like this, it's actually showing you that there are more. There is more to explore. So I'll click on this place and I'll go to paste special. You can actually see paste special, okay? So if I click on paste special, it's going to open up this dialog box. And what I want to do is to perform an operation. So you can see there are 4 options for operations. What I want to do is to multiply. I can divide, okay? That's what you have here in number 2. If you divide by 1, it's still going to give you the same thing. If it was 0 that I copied, and I use add, it will still give me the same result, or subtract. All right, but in this case, I want to multiply. Once I have copied the number I want to multiply with, and I have highlighted my data, I would hit OK. Now, Charity, and every other person that didn't take note, watch what would happen on the highlighted scores. Okay, are you ready? 2, 3, 1. Can you see everything aligns immediately? So now you have cleansed this data by having proper data set as numbers. All right. So I believe this is very clear. You can lay your hands on the other other examples that we have here. Question in the box, question in the box. How do I go about the VLOOKUP part as my battery? Okay, no. VLOOKUP parts, you might probably, since your battery is going down, you might probably have to catch up via emails. Okay, I have two topics that I need to cover as a matter of urgency. They are very important, this and the other one. Okay, but I would communicate with everyone via email. So, Motola, please ensure to check your email for whatever message that we have, or you can actually even give me a call and then we'll talk, okay? Or you send me a mail. All right, just ensure that you stay in touch after this session, okay? All right, so thank you. I believe everybody understands this. Oluwa Damiloju, I hope I pronounced the name right. Fechuku said, what happens when you delete the one? Nothing happens when you delete the one. Nothing happens. You can actually say, I just deleted because I did not perform. If you click on any of these and check your formula bar, it's not multiplying them directly. Okay. Now, another way to do it, which is a crude method, is to have actually done this multiply by one, then use a relative or absolute reference and copy down. But anytime you click on the cell, it will show that you actually did. But if I send this document to you now, you wouldn't know that there was a mathematical operation that was performed on this. Comfort, my paste function is not working here. Paste function. Try again, please. It's under home. And now paste function will not work. If you check the paste now, is gray because I have not copied anything to paste. So that would probably be what is happening. Okay, comfort. If you have not copied, there won't be anything to paste. So the paste function will not be activated. All right. Another question. Were those three numbers on the left? Where were those three numbers on the left? They have aligned to the right. Okay, why they were on the left? Because Excel was not treating them as numbers. If you attend our session 2, we talked about, no, session 1, we talked about number formatting. Okay, so all of this, you can actually see they are aligned to the right. They are aligned to the right because they are numbers. The ones that align to the left the other times was because Excel was not treating them as numbers. I have talked about this. Maybe you just have to watch the previous sessions, okay? We need to speed up. Lajim, okay, what if we click on divide in the dialog box using one? It's still going to give you the same result. Okay, let me undo. Okay, now I have copied this. Please watch again this final time. Watch again. I've just copied this and I have selected this. Control Alt V. Okay, now it's going to give you the paste special. Okay, now you go to operations. The operation I want to perform, somebody asks, okay, is going to be divide by. Now watch, it's going to give you the same results. Can you see? It's the same result. If I use 0, let me undo and use 0. Now here I'm going to type 0. So 0 is the number that I want to copy. Okay, copy, highlight, Control Alt V. Now, which do we want to do? Either subtract or add. We can add. Any number added to 0 will give you the original number. Watch what would happen. Everything aligns. It's the same thing, okay? It's still going to be the same thing. All right, so we need to move forward. We've done a number of, we've placed a lot of emphasis on this particular one. Okay, so I believe this part is very clear. That's example number 3. Example number 4. This is an interesting one. Okay, so I have these students. How many do I have here? So anytime I want to know how many data sets that I have, I'll just look at count because this is tests. That's why the only tip that is showing you here is count because it cannot perform whether average or the other. But if it's a number, it's going to show you average, count, sum. So it showed me that I have highlighted 16 data sets, okay? So I would say I have 16 students in this class. But if you look at it very well, there are duplicates. So what we want to ensure that we do is to remove duplicates, okay? I hope this is legible enough. Okay, I just zoomed out. Unlike, okay, we'll talk about that shortly. I don't want to jump ahead of myself. All right, so if you look at this data very well, you will see duplicates. Please, can you tell me example of students where I have, or example of rows that I have duplicates? Just one. I think I have more than one. Just look at this very well. Danjuma, thank you very much, um, Damiloju. I hope I pronounced your name right again. Olatunji Akpabio, thank you, Grace. So you can see Akpabio, you can see Danjuma, you can see Olatunji. Now, the reason why we even know that they are duplicates is not just because of this name, because we can have two students in the same class bearing the same name. As a matter of fact, you could have colleagues in your workplace that bears your name. They are your namesake, okay? It doesn't mean that we must only have one Olatunji, but if you look at this, you see that it's the same scores, 73, 59. So that tells us that this and this are the same, okay? Akpabio, you look at Akpabio. Akpabio here in this A77 and this A76, they are the same. Look at Danjuma, look at Danjuma, look at Olatunji, look at Olatunji. Now, if you have a larger data set and you have to remove this, how do you do that? How do you do that? Okay, because you can't come and remove them manually. Remove this, and close the cells, remove this. No, there are different ways to do that. Okay, I will show you one that is not very effective. Then I will show you one that is more effective. Okay, all right. So we've learned over and over how to highlight our data sets. Can anybody tell us in dialog box the shortcuts to highlight all of these data sets without having to copy, without having to, okay, thank you very much, Grace. Control, anywhere you just point to on this data set, Control Shift 8, okay? Even if it is 1 million rows, it will highlight, okay? Matthew, you only type Control star, okay, which is correct, all right, thank you very much. Now, I want to first see whether there are duplicates on this document, on this particular data. I want to see before I even remove. Let me even see, okay? So what I would do is to go to Home. You can see it here. Home, and go to Conditional Formatting. You can see under Style, because what we want to do now is to put colors where they are duplicates. Anything that has to do with color, font size, and all of those, they are under Style group. Each of these are groups. Okay, so formatting. You click on this arrow. I've told you this arrow tells us that there are more. So you click on it. All right. Now, what I want to do, there are different things I can do here alone. A lot. Okay, I can do new rule. I can actually say, okay, highlight cells that are showing duplicate values. You can actually see this, right? Please pay attention because I may not be able to show you all, but I'll just tell you, okay? So you can actually see under this conditional formatting, I am formatting based on conditions. Now the condition here is duplicates. I want to format based on duplicates. So conditional formatting highlights cells rules, okay? You can actually see duplicate values. You can see immediately it highlights cells that have duplicate values, highlights Akpabio. Now it's highlighting 74 in front of Adekunle because there's another place on this data that somebody has called 74. But this is not the kind of formatting that we want to do. Okay, I don't want to format for another person's score. You can actually see that it's formatting is highlighting 60 because, for example, somebody else has called, if I scroll down, okay, I can't scroll down yet. Somebody has called 60 elsewhere on this record. You can actually format based on unique scores, the ones that are unique. You see what would change now. You can actually see it has changed. And there are different colors that you can use. You can use gray and all of that. In fact, you can customize the kind of formatting that you want to do You remember this dialog box very well. We used it, Control 1. So I'm coming to fill, and you can select the kind of color that you want, okay? So there are lots, depends on your taste, depends on your taste. Okay, so I'm back to this place, but this is not what I want, so I'll cancel, okay? I'm going to cancel, but I have just shown you that under conditional formatting, you can format based on different things, different rules, okay? It's going to show me what do I want to do. You can see this under new rules. I want to format unique only or duplicate value. So it's showing me what do I want to do. Is it unique or duplicate? You can see now format, what type of color do you want? Is going back to that dialog box. Then I can select maybe red. I can click this. Now, by the time I click OK, you see it's selecting, but this is not what I want. But why I'm showing you this is because it is a possibility I would undo now to do formatting under conditional formatting in this place, okay? All right, I think it's even possible to do that here, okay? I think it's possible. So please check while you are experimenting on your own. There are different ways to go about it. All right, but this is not what I want to use. This is good. For example, if I want to select students that score below, say 40, I can use conditional formatting and say, okay, highlight cells based on maybe less than or between or equals to or greater than. There are different things that you can do, okay? You can set new rules. New rules, there are different options that you can have, okay? So you can select based on the kind of formatting you are doing. But remember what we want to achieve here is to remove duplicates. So I'm going to use the second option, which is I'll go to data menu, data tools group, and remove duplicates. All right. So first one was to show us that truly they were duplicates, but now I want to remove them. I want to straight away remove them. Please pay attention and observe what is going to happen. Remember when we were looking at the number of duplicates that we have, it shows that we have 3 duplicates. So it means that we do not have 16 students in this class. We actually even have 13. So there are 13 students in this class. So it means by the time we remove the duplicates, it will remain how many students? Anybody wants to help? Anybody wants to help us? I need your participation. That's why I ask questions. All right, thank you, Olajumoke. If we remove the 3 duplicates, it means we're going to have 13 original or unique students. Okay, so watch what is going to happen now. Okay, going to Control Shift 8. All right, go to data and then go to data 2. This is data 2 groups. All right, I did something to my Excel menu and groups, which might be different from what you have. So you can see each of these are not actually showing the names. I seem not to need them because once I come here, I straight away, I know where I'm going, okay? For example, if I leave my cursor here, you can actually see, okay, it's not highlighted. If I put my cursor here, you see remove duplicates. You can see this, right? Remove duplicates. So watch what is going to happen. Once I click this, it's going to ask me questions. My data has headers, of course, so you can see the data feeds, right? So I'll check this to ensure that it is actually ticked, right? And I will ensure that it's ticked and all of these columns are ticked. Watch what is going to happen. If I click OK, immediately it is going to remove the duplicates. Are you ready? You can see 3 duplicate values found and removed. 13 unique values remain, right? So we have removed that. That's why we have 1, 2, 3 spaces. I told you earlier that if you have spaces in between your data and you are sorting, maybe alphabetically or otherwise, the empty spaces will be at the bottom, okay? So it's actually showing that 1, 2, 3 are part of this data, but they are empty spaces. That's why they are at the bottom. Ayo, please take note. I'm actually moving my cursor so that you can see, okay? But now let me undo. Now I put a condition here. I said the data across the row has to be completely similar. So it means Akpabio and Akpabio, they need to have all of their scores as the same. For example, if Akpabio, maybe we have two Akpabio in the same class, and this scores, let me change this score now, say to 70. And of course, now they are not the same anymore. They are not the same anymore. Okay, but let me still change one more and say 61, right? Though this is 53 and this is 53, but Excel is not going to treat them as duplicates anymore. Watch what is going to happen. I would Control Shift 8 and go to under data or go to my data tools group and click on duplicates. Now watch how many duplicates are going to remove. Watch, I'll click OK. Ensure that you always check this and all of the columns are checked, because these are the columns that Excel is checking to see if the values are the same. All right. Now watch how many unique values we are going to have left. It has removed two duplicates. Okay. We have Akpabio here, we have Akpabio here, but this is not the same with these. All right, so I am laying emphasis again. It is not just enough to have this and this as the same. As a matter of fact, you could have two persons bearing this. You remember what we call primary elements, okay, in our lesson 1, our session 1. What we call primary elements. So these are the primary elements, and then these are the data for each of the elements. All right, so let's move quickly. We are far ahead of time. Okay, so that's example number 4. Let's progress. This is very important. And so as we consider all of this, pay attention to the fact that we're not just limited to the number of data sets that we have, depending on the kind of amount of data that you work with. So imagine if I have let me just undo back and leave it as the original document. So imagine if I have 1,000 students in the same class. Maybe this is the whole result for WAEC Nigeria or WAEC West Africa, and I have all of their names, maybe 10,000 students that sat for the exam, and then I have all of this. So you don't have to be going one after the other, select this, or maybe just come here and do right control and delete. No, that is very inefficient. Okay, so we are learning efficiency along the way. Number 5, we want to highlight errors. So these are universities. Intentionally did not put names, but these are universities. How many? 9 universities, and it's showing us the number of applicants into these universities for 2007 to 2017 to 2019. So University A in 2017, 56,872 students or applicants, yes, applied to this school. But watch, out of this number, only 9,441 were admitted. Now, in this place, we want to show the admission rate for each school for each year, okay? Now, if you watch, you see div error, div error, div error, div error. Now, let me just take you away briefly. Formula errors. I can't remember the session. I think it was session 2. We talked about these errors. These are the, now it's not even limited to the, I think we have about 9 different types of errors in Excel. But we talked about number 2, div error. Anytime you multiply a formula by 0, it's going to give you div error. Okay? Now, how do you solve it? Because at times, for example, in this particular case, 0 is actually the legitimate score, the legitimate number that we need. Because if you check 2000, okay, say for example, apologies to people that are not in Nigeria. So the body that supervises admission into Nigerian universities is called JAMB, JAMB. Okay, so imagine all of these universities, they are submitting their records to the JAMB office, and say country D, I'm sorry, University D, in 2019, they did not submit their data. Same thing with University G, they did not submit their data, but JAMB is collecting this data, okay, this admission rates for each of the schools, okay? Now, they don't have any records to work with, because what we are actually even doing here is, if you check with which will give edit modes, what we are doing is divide F97. F97 is this. Divide the number of students admitted by the number of applicants. Now, if I click escape and I go to the formatting, you can actually see I formatted to percentage. All right, so I don't need to do multiply by 100. It is in percentage. If you see my cursor, you see that it's in percentage. Okay, right. So now we are saying that 2 universities in 2019 did not submit their scores, or maybe they did not have this record intact. And we want to calculate their admission rates. And it's showing 0 because what we're actually doing is we are dividing the number of students that they admitted by 0, which is a div error. But now the goal is I want to be able to highlight errors. Maybe I want to remove errors, or maybe I don't want them to be featuring as div errors. It's kind of insulting to be seeing div errors on my data. So I would rather put something in these spaces to tell the user that, okay, yes, it's an error, but I don't want to see div error. Maybe I could put nil or not applicable or 0, or just put something else. Okay, so if you check formula error, how do you fix div error? First thing you do is to actually check the divisor or the denominator. What are you dividing? Is it 0? Maybe that's an error. You can correct it. But in the case whereby it is actually meant to be 0, one of the things you can actually do is to nest inside what we call if error. Okay, so let me just do for this part alone. This part alone, watch my formula bar. Okay, so I'm going to put my cursor here. If you pay attention to when we nested the very first time, okay, that was in, I think, example 2. Yes, example 1. Okay, we nested. So what we did was to put another function in front of whatever function we have already in that set. So watch what I'm going to do. I would use what we call if error. If error is a logical function that's telling me that, okay, if I have an error, don't show this. This is what you should show. So I'm going to tell Excel, if there's an error, this is what I want you to show. Okay, so watch if error. Okay, so you can actually see it. I'll scroll this. So you see the screen tick, returns value if error, all right? And it will tell you what to return. So I'll click on tab. So the entire value is going to be whatever I have. If it does not produce error, then it will neglect. But if it produces error, so I put comma, there are just 2 arguments. So the next thing you can actually see, what value do you want to display if there's an error? So I could put 0. For example, I could put a test, but if you are putting a test, you have to quote, okay? You have to quote. So I can't put hyphen or they didn't submit or not available, just NA, okay? Now watch what would happen. It's going to put it as NA. Now this is it. It's still an error, but it looks better. But that's not even what we want to do. We want to be able to highlight the error. So I would undo. I've just showed you this, how to nest if error. Okay. Okay, I hope we are together. I'm trying to slow down so that we can get it. But at the same time, looking at the time, and I'm seeing that we have less than 30 minutes and we've not even covered the entire data cleaning. All right, but let's just see how we roll. Okay, so I would highlight this. If you look at it very well, I intentionally separated, so you can see a space in between this. It is very intentional. Okay, so I'm treating this as a separate data set and this as another data set. Okay, so we could even say, okay, this is another person working on this, and this is another person based on the values that we have here. Okay, so I'm going to select this and I'm going to go to special. You can actually see it's F5. If you have forgotten how we got to go to special earlier, under home, you go to this, okay, click on this, go to. Let's go to, if I click on it, which is also Control G, it can actually take me to this place and I would need to click on special. What I need is special, okay? So I'm going to delete again, Control G. There are different ways to always get about where you are going in Excel. There are different ways. So for example, you can, with your cursor, go to, with your mouse rather, go to home and then come here. and click on go to special, or you can actually use F5. F5. F5 is going to show you go to and click special. But if you want to, another way to go about is Control G. Okay, different ways. So I'm going to go to special. What do I want to do? What do I want to do? Anybody wants to tell us what we actually want to do? I hope we are still together. If you look at this place, anybody, what do we want to achieve? So that doesn't seem like I'm just talking to myself. Anybody wants to help? What do we want to achieve? Anybody? Come on now, we are 76 on this call. What do we want to achieve? What do we want to achieve? We want to remove div error. We actually did not want to remove. We want to be able to, want to highlight. Yes, thank you very much, Ifechuku. We want to highlight. Is that we put colors there, color codings, or we circle it, all right, so that whoever is working on this will know that, okay, I can even leave a comment, right? Very quickly, let me just show us where to remove, where to add comments. So comment is under review, okay? Anywhere you select, so you can see new comment. So I can put a comment here. I can say, okay, university has not submitted their data. I can put something there, or not available, or not found. Maybe their documents were not found or something, okay? So different ways, but now I have highlighted, okay, I've highlighted, I'll click F5, F5, right? Takes me to go to special. All right, so what I want to do here is I want to highlight errors. So I'm going to formulas and I'm going to uncheck all except errors. So you can actually see I want to go to special, then come to formulas. You can actually remember that there was a formula that produced that div error. So that's why it is found under formula. Okay, now watch what would happen here. I've taken this dialog box, a separate side. Watch as I click OK. Now, you can see that gray color. That gray color is also on this very first one. I must be very careful not to click on anything now. All right, so now with this, I can type whatever I want to show on this. So anybody wants to tell us what we should type on this? Anybody? Just tell me and I'll type it. What do you want us to type? What do you want us to display on this place? Anybody? Not applicable. Okay, not applicable seems to be very long. Okay, NA, okay, NA. Now watch, I would not click enter. I would have to hold control. Anytime you have this kind of operations and it's more than one cell, you have to hold control. So as I hold control, I would click enter. Watch as both would change. Immediately they change, okay? So this is another way to clean data by highlighting errors, okay? All right, so this is also very applicable to data cleaning. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on. This I will not even spend um too long on this place because we've done something like this. Okay, let me just chip in for those that love to read books. These are books on strategy, business strategy. I have 37 of them, book titles. I do not have all of the soft copies because I have not read all of these, but I have a number of them. Okay, if you need these books, I like to share. So send emails. I'll probably share with you, or I'll just send a link to where you can actually download them. So, for example, Blue Ocean Strategy. These are very, very good business. For those of you that are in business, maybe you're in HR, you're a manager, I have to actually run the strategy for your organization, maybe execution of strategy or the implementation, the design or the execution, okay? But these are just very good business books on strategy alone. Okay, so I have 37 of them, but you can see all of them are in lowercase. Okay, so the task is to change all of them to text. I won't spend time here because we've actually done something like this. So I'll just put them in proper case and I can nest in proper. Okay, all right, so this is what I'll do. I'll first put in upper. Okay, it's just one argument, which is this. All right, click enter. You have Blue Ocean Strategy, but it looks very, very annoying. to, because it's in uppercase, so I want to nest proper. Okay, proper. Proper. Okay, then I'll just do this, close, and something happened. Okay, do you want to accept correction? Yes, of course, I want to accept correction. Okay, then I'll just click down. So here you have in very, so I can delete this. I'll show you how to delete something like this later on. I think it's also on this data cleaning. Okay, so at times you have this kind of this that you want to remove. Instead of having to click delete or something, you can just go to somewhere and just with one click, it will remove everything in this place. So this can you actually see? What I've done is not just to convert to uppercase, and then I've actually even put each of the tests, each of the word in uppercase. Okay. I'm not sure I can answer this question now. If you have been paying attention to what we've been doing, you will know that okay, this is the test function to use for this and for that. Last session when we talked about test function, we defined each of them. So please go back to the video on YouTube, only on YouTube at the moment, and then watch that part where we talked about the definition for all of them. Another way to know, Mrs. Ife, please go to your formulas, okay? Formulas, this is a test function that I've just done. So go to tests, all right, and check one after the other. But the one we use there is, we use upper, so you can see upper. See, look at the tip. It says convert a test string to all uppercases. So all of your test string will convert to uppercase. Now the next one is proper that we use. So proper converts a test string to proper case. So the first letter in each word to uppercase and all other letters to lowercase. So that's how you can know it. But because we're already used to this kind of operations, we already know that this is how to run this. So I would leave this out. Okay, so I have nested this, and you can actually see all of these book titles. Okay, so number seven. Now look at this. Very important. Please pay attention to this. Okay, so I have this address. I just enlarge now. So I want to enlarge. Okay, and okay, let me just undo. Let me show you proper way. So I would what's happening. Okay, let me go down. Okay, look at this. So what I want to do is, we have addresses. These addresses are in the same format: street number, street name, the town, the city, and the state. Right. So these are addresses in Nigeria. Okay, these are addresses in Nigeria. All of them follow the same pattern. So that's why we can use test to column. There's an operation called test to column. Now we want to separate all of these based on the conditions that we dictate. All right. So I want to be able to separate and see address, street number and street name alone. I want to see the town alone. I want to see the city alone. I want to see the state alone. Okay. All right. So I'll first enlarge this. So I would widen the column. I can actually do this, but because it's going to affect other data on this worksheet, but I will undo back later. All right. And so we have for these, okay, please watch what we are doing. All right, so we have street. So what I'm saying is, I want to put all of these data, I want to divide it, I want to break them into street, town, without having to be typing, okay, this is number 13, Adebanke Ajayi Street. No, I want to, with one operation, just split all of this. Even if it is 1 million addresses, it will split. All right, are you ready? Okay, so what I would do is to use what we call test to column. Okay, so I would select this. Now watch, I would go to data. Under data tools, where we did duplicate the other time, there's what we call test to column. Test to column, okay? Once I click test to column, it's going to ask me 3 questions, all right? So there are 3 steps. There are 3 steps. I want to convert text to column. Now show me, is it a fixed width? All right, please, a moment. Is it a fixed width or not? Okay, so if it is a fixed width, I will just click this. All right, but it is not a fixed because you can actually see the street name, for example. Some are 2 digits, some are 3 digits, like you can see 541 Airport Road. Some started with word road 5. Okay, so it is not fixed. So I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use what we call delimiter. Delimiter are characters that separate text within a cell. For example, a comma. Another one is a full stop. Another one could be apostrophe. Another one could be forward slash. Okay. Well, if you look at this data that I have highlighted, you can tell me the particular delimiter that we are using here. Anybody? What type of character separates the text? Anybody? Comma. Thank you very much, Kulawi. Thank you to Lokwe. Thank you to Chuku. Thank you, Agnes. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Interesting. So I'm going to click on delimited. So it was delimited using delimiter. Okay. These are Excel terminology. These are database terminologies. If you are used to Access, Microsoft Access, these are also terminologies that I use. Now there's a part called preview. So whatever operation I'm doing, I'm actually seeing here. All right. Now that's step 1. I've been able to select delimiter, that it is delimited. So that's step 1. Step 2. Now, you have said it was delimited. What type of delimiter? Okay. People said comma. Okay, so I'm going to click on comma. Now, watch what is going to happen in the preview as I click comma. All right, you can actually see that it's divided into number, but this is not what I want because I was also using space to divide. So I will uncheck space. Watch as everything will change all of a sudden. You can actually see. So now we have street name, number 13, Adebanke Ajayi Street. Town, Shomolu. City, Lagos. State, Lagos. Okay. So here now I've been able to to select the particular type of delimiter that my data has. Okay, so I'll click next. All right, this is the last step. This last step is to help you 2 things. Do you want to format as text or as date or any other thing? So I will leave it as general, okay? And then you have to select where you want that's the destination. If not, it would override this data. So I'm going to select the first cell here, okay, and then continue. We are done. Okay, 3 steps and we are done already. So if I click finish now, it's going to split all of this into this. We're going to retain this, but we're going to have it in all of these 4 columns. Okay, are we ready? Finish. Now I say reference invalid, something happened. Okay, so I'll check again. I'll click cancel and check. Okay, step 1, okay. Now let me go back again and select where I want my data to be. So I think that's what happened. Are we ready? Finish. Now it say there's already data here, so I'll still click OK because I want it, okay. Now watch as I click the final button. Okay, cool. Did you watch to see what happened? All right, so you can actually see your data has been split into street name, town, city, and state based on the delimiter, comma. But there's only one condition. All of these must be in the same format, okay? So it has to be street separated by a particular delimiter. Then the next thing has to be town. So you cannot have street as the first one here. Then the next data you're having state as the first. No, it has to be the same format: street, town, city, state. Let me just show you one more example. Under raw data, when we did raw data here, you'd remember that I showed you where I have split this as emails, the date, and the gender. Okay, so I'll just do that without wasting time. We'll progress. It's almost 6 already, so you have to close very quick. So I'm going to select anywhere here. Okay, no, I would highlight. Yes, select anywhere. and highlight. Okay, go to text to column. All right, it has delimiter. My delimiter here, okay, is not space, is actually semicolon. So you can actually see it as separated address, time, female, that's gender. Okay, so I'll click yes, and then so I would leave it as general. Now, destination, if not, it would override. So let me leave it here. All right, are we cool? So you can actually preview here before you even click finish. I have my address, there's the email addresses, I have the dates, date, time. I can go ahead to split this as well, but I'll just leave it. Okay, you can actually see it has shown. All right, so this is another way. You can go ahead to even split this because you can actually see in between the dates and the time and the PM. You can see that there are spaces. So you can use that space to also split this. So this is another way to actually split. That's what we call pass. You can pass data using text to column. Text to column is found under data and text column in the data tools group. Okay. All right. So three more examples. I will wrap it up under this. Okay. So I have this. Now, unfortunately, for Excel, if you are using Microsoft Word or PowerPoint, you know when you type a word that's incorrect, it will highlight red, okay? But that does not exist in Excel. But that does not mean that we cannot find errors in our spelling. So how do you check for spelling errors? Okay, I would highlight this and then just straight away I would click F7. F7. Okay, if I click F7, it's taking me to this place. Now it's showing, it will now begin to go to the words. It will begin to process all of the words to see if they are correct. So the first error it found was, okay, no, sorry, let me come again. I didn't highlight very well. This is an error. This data is an error. Let me just delete it. Okay, all right, so let me highlight from the first part. Highlight, then click F7. All right, so you can see moved. Who moved my cheese? For those that have read the book, it's actually moves. No, not double D. So it's correct. It's suggested to you here. So you can actually ignore if that's what you want, or you just change. Okay, so I'll change immediately. It moves to the next error that it can find. Ultimates, you can actually see ultimates double I, not found in dictionary. All right, so you can actually check arrow, not triple R, okay? So you can change. Now, greatest, not greatest, okay? The greatest affinity, so it's actually this, okay? Then I'll change. All right, so I am done. I can undo again, back to the very first one, and then I can also change, and change. All right, so that's another way to actually, all right, so spell check complete, you're good to go. Thank you, Excel. All right, so this is another way to actually check for errors. So another thing you can actually do is if you have a long column, long rows of data, yes, in a column, just when you select, you just check for errors, it will begin to scan all through and suggest to you where errors are found. So for example, if it's a name, maybe an African name that is not in the English dictionary, you know, it will pick it as an error, but it gives you the option to ignore, so you can ignore, all right? And then because you're the owner of your data, you can know that, okay, I have more places where this word was used, so you can just use ignore all. It will ignore all of the places that it has found that particular error, okay? All right, so that's another one. Mrs. Ify, I noticed that after you must have split the details, the female and date. Yes, I mentioned you can go ahead to also even split that, okay? Because one of the delimiters that was found there was space. So space also is a delimiter, okay? Space also, if you check to column, space is a delimiter. So if I use delimiter, you can actually see space here, all right? So look at delimiters, you can see space, okay? All right, so I'm going to cancel this. All right, so let's progress. Number 9. Number 9, we're actually past 6. Okay, number 9 is very simple. It's just very similar to the first one we did where we have students and wanted to remove duplicate. But this time around, certain things have been highlighted on my data and I want to remove. This red is very scary. I just want to remove it. All right, so once I Control Shift 8, all right, please just pay attention. You go to Home. Home, there's one interesting group, editing, under editing. All right, under this editing, this is called what's it called? Okay, it's not checking. Okay, if it's select, this is called let me select again. It will show you the name. All right, you can see clear. So under this clear, there are different ways you can actually clear content in this place. Do I want to remove the colors, which is the formatting, the style formatting? Do I want to remove the text? Do I want to remove everything? I just want to have blank cells, all right? So we have it here. So you can use clear all, you can use clear format, you can use clear content, you can use clear comments if you have comments. If there are hyperlinks, links on this, you can actually remove it as well, okay? You can clear it. So I want to clear format. It's going to remove the colors, including the header, because I selected the header. Okay, so if I click clear content, it's going to remove all the content. I don't want to remove all the content. I just want to remove the colors. Okay, these are another ways to clean your data by deleting all formats. Okay. All right, so here you have it. You can actually see you have it raw. Okay, so you can now begin to format in your own way. All right, so I hope you're able to grab. Okay, last one, very last one. Okay, I want to use find and replace to clean my data in Excel. All right, so this is another interesting example. So let's say out of all the students, I have selected certain students here, or maybe I even have all of the students. I just want to show there are different things that can happen, with data. All right. For example, I want to send this document to biology teacher. I don't want him to see chemistry scores. I don't want him to see. I remember back in secondary school that our teachers would have to. Then there was no what's it called, school management system, the portals, where teachers can just enter their scores. You have to be passing the what's it called now, the is it marking skill, your results. Yes, the result itself, you have to be passing it from each teacher's table to the other. So let's say the biology teacher has just finished entering his scores into the report sheet. Now you now pass to chemistry teacher. But now with Excel as an application, we can actually remove all of this. Say, for example, we want to remove chemistry and music scores and just have biology scores. So I have done what we call index match. So if I click on this formula, you can see index match. We're not going into index match. Index match is another topic under lookup function and what's it called? Reference functions, okay? So what I want to do is very logical. This is what I want to do. I have provided you with a formula to fetch for biology score only. But you can actually see that biology is in which column, please? Which column? It's very straightforward. This is a very basic question. Which column is biology? Olamide, you're writing on our screen, please. All right, not column 2. Columns are in alphabets. Okay, yes, column C. All right, so column C, you can actually see column C. All right, so what I want to do, escape. What I want to do, somebody's writing, I have to clear this under annotation. Okay, please don't write on the screen again, okay? All right, thank you. Please just bear with us. We'll close very soon. I just need to eat this very well, okay? So I was saying, this is biology score. I want to change all of these scores straight away to chemistry. All right, but if you check at this, you see that so this I may not be able to explain certain parts until we get to index match. Okay, I'm hoping that I'll talk about how we can get there. All right, so if I come to this, I would see that I have C. So if I check on my formula using my edit, which is F2, you can actually click on it. It will show you all the arguments. So array, under the array is like a table, okay? It's showing you the blue, so you can actually see this. So it's showing C205. C205 is adequately, all right? C255, sorry, C205 is adequately score for biology, which is 72. I can actually change it to D205. I hope you understand. All right, so I'll just change the D in this place from C to D. All right, so that's just what I'm trying to explain all the way. Now watch, I'll go to Control H. Control H, if I select, I need to select all of this first and then Control H, okay? So you can actually see that I have C. So it's saying that anywhere you have C inside this formula, which would be talking about biology, change it to D. But because it is logged for absolute referencing, I will use $sign as well. So anywhere you see $C, I would change it to $D. I hope you understand, okay? If I click find now, look at this part that I highlighted. It will change to 68, 63, and all of the scores for chemistry. I'll just do replace all. Immediately, 26 data have been updated. So you can actually see that I have updated my data to chemistry score. All right. Something didn't happen. Well, something didn't happen. Okay, Ali. Okay, not adequately Ali. Okay. All right. So this is just one way to do it. Okay, I've talked about this, but I could probably put this as example. There are different things to do. For example, I want to split. All right, so Nigeria, these are Nigeria banks, okay? In Nigeria, there are different authorizations. Is that you have international operation authorization or national operation authorization, or you're just a merchant. There are others we called non-interest banks like JAIS. There are another ones called regional banks. They're not everywhere. They are regional, maybe southwest of Nigeria or northeast of Nigeria or northern Nigeria. There are others that we call international banks, okay, internationally authorized banks. So they have the license to operate, to do international transactions, okay? Now imagine that I want to split this. I want to arrange them. I want to put, okay, this is bank. This is a kind of license that they have. This is bank. This is the kind of license they have. You can actually use test to column. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm just telling you. Okay, Alabi is saying, would it be more efficient to use VLOOKUP directly rather than index match? It depends on the context. It depends on the content. Unfortunately, we will not be able to do that. It's quite very painful that we could not touch, we can't touch data validation today. Very painful. This is one of my my most interesting topics in Excel, in the entire Excel, because data validation can help you, can tell you exactly what you want in your cells or a group of cells. So maybe, for example, look at this place now. Let me just zoom out. I can, this is belt. So I can put here that I can create a rule for data validation and say, okay, I don't want the price, the cost price to be more than 100 naira or $100. I can actually put that condition, okay? All right, there are different ways. Maybe, for example, this is shoe, this is shoe, then I want to set shoe sizes, okay? So the shoe sizes will be, say, okay, I will set that, okay, this shoe one, the size cannot be more than 45 and then it cannot be lower than 42. So the shoe sizes must be, the size for this shoe one would have 42 as the lower limit. And so anything I'm entering here must be within 42 and 45. Same thing with others. These are the things that data validation can help you to do. These are Nigerian schools, federal, state, federal. I can actually create something here that will be showing me the different types of schools, say federal schools, and then show me possibility to only select from these. Once I click federal schools, all of the remaining schools will not feature. These are things that data validation can do. For example, your attendance sheet, you see that once it's maybe 8 o'clock, it will show that you are late. This is more like data validation because I can preset this set and say, okay, anybody that comes before 8 o'clock is late. So you cannot enter attendance more beyond 8 o'clock. These are things that data validation can enable you to do. Guys, it's been very interesting that we've actually we've gone through these 4 sessions. A number of persons have emailed me. Thank you um, for your kind words, appreciation, saying thank you. All right, some persons have been actually finding applications of what we have been doing at work. All right, there are a number of times because as an HR professional, I also do recruitment, training, and all of that. Different times, somebody will just call, maybe a colleague, HR professional, Olabisi, please can you recommend to me somebody that is good in Excel? Now that's the major requirement for that particular job, right? So that's why Excel is very important. Because I've been seeing a pattern, that's why I felt, okay, let me put something up. I cannot teach you all of the things you need to know in Excel, but I can teach you certain things that can boost your confidence and your competency level in Excel. So with all of these things that we've taught, I believe you would find relevance in them. You would go back and put your hands, you roll your sleeves and ensure that you actually practice. Okay. Secondly, some other person say, okay, I would want it to take me more. All right. I wish we can continue this for maybe 8 weekends and all of that, but unfortunately, I cannot because there are also a number of resources that have been put to this. I'm actually supposed to be working on a project from office. But I just had to pause since around 2:30, just to brush up and prepare for this session. That's just example of resource data, having to take my time to prepare all of these workbooks. All of these workbooks were actually carefully prepared. It took a whole lot of time because I have to put into consideration the kind of persons that we're going to have in this session, ranging from different kind of competency level. So that's why I cannot continue with the free session. However, I have designed another program which I called 2.0, all right? 2.0, all of the topics, Power Pivot, and all of that that we've not been able to cover, they are there, all right? So if you check on your screen, you can see we've not been able to review all of the assignments. I mentioned projects, I have a whole lot of, for example, look at Power Pivot, look at another document, entire document on Power Pivots alone. Okay, these are documents that I've actually created. One of my skills that I developed quite early in my HR career is instructional design. So I first started working at a consulting firm where I built strength in designing materials for learning, either exercises, case studies, PowerPoints, and all of that. So this has actually helped in my ability to design instructional material. So that's why I've been able to come up with all of these. They take time actually, but these are some of the topics that I still want to treat. If you get, for example, look at lookup and reference function alone. We've talked about index, we've talked about match, all right? Alabi, love Alabi. So you can see VLOOKUP. I actually didn't even put X lookup here, all right? Power Excel, Power Query, Power Pivot, visualization. How do you create interactive dashboards, okay? All right, predictive analytics with Excel. You can actually do forecasting, all right, conditional statements and all of that. Array formulas, array and aggregate formulas, they are very important. And there are a whole lot of other test date and time functions, statistical functions that we've not even considered. Okay, so this is another program that I am actually putting up. I'll start very soon, okay? And so I feel, let me share with you, because I'm actually doing 2 things at the moment. I'm designing sessions for individuals. So maybe you want one-on-one session, please send an email to me and or call me, then we'll talk and how. I'm very passionate about enabling you Excel at the use of Excel. So it's very important that you master the use of Excel. You should become a pro, not just average, all right? So I have a whole lot of practical examples that we can use. So I'm designing another 8 sessions, for the whole weekend in October. It's going to be interactive webinars, more interactive than this, because I'm hoping that we'll have lesser participants. I don't want us to have as much as, so that we can ask questions. I'm going to create a group where we're going to have a community, all right, where we can network. And so if there are jobs, if there are questions that you want to ask, based on a project you're working on, based on the usage. So these are the other was in need for you that I'm actually adding to this. So I'm also going to do what we call peer projects. So I'm going to pair people that they're going to work on a project. It's going to be on cloud, on Google Drive, and both of you, or maybe the number of people that I put on that particular project, you guys will be working on it, and they will have our results. So these are some of the things that are going to benefit if you participate in this session. I'm offering you value, okay? That's why I feel I could do this again for free. But honestly, Buhari will even blame me. All right, so fuel is costs is more expensive now. Actually, I've been running on fuel all the while. Data, running on data and all of that. So the time it takes to actually focus on this, prepare the materials that we need to actually make this happen. So if you are interested, okay, this is the registration link. I'll just paste, boom. I'll just paste in the comment box for you now, okay? Let me just paste for you guys. So I'm pasting now. This is the link to register. All right. So I am creating, of course, I have attended a number of Excel trainings, whether on Udemy or what's it called now, on LinkedIn Learning, and I see how much they charge for all of this. But I'm wondering, do I really want to charge for this? But let me tell you, any amount you are paying for this is your commitment. So I see it at a commitment level, because I know that after this stage now, a number of persons would probably not register, So whatever you're putting in is your commitment to what we are doing, okay? So that's why I feel, let me charge you something to actually show that you're committed. So if you check through and see online, even offline Excel trainings, they go as high in Nigeria as 125,000, 100,000, 75,000, and the rest. But I'm going to charge 15,000 for this. All right, 15,000 naira for this. But at the moment, I'm not going to charge 15,000. I'm going to charge you 8,600. All right. So I'm going to charge 8,600 for anybody that registers between now and September 25th. Okay. All right. September 25th. You can register between now and September 25th. Now, it doesn't mean you have to wait till September 25th, because if I have the number of participants that I need for the session, I'll just close the registration. Okay. So I might not wait until this particular period. Well, if you actually want, somebody is asking a question, yes, you're going to have link to watch again this session. Definitely, you're not paying for that. Okay, you're not paying for that. All of the sessions that we've had, they are free. Okay, they are all free. Okay, but all of the things that we've talked about, that we need to re-emphasize on, we need to reiterate on. For example, I put here, we're going to do, what's it called? We're going to do a review, all right, including all the assignments. That's going to be in that 2.0, okay? That's going to be in the 2.0. All right, for those that are outside Nigeria, I'm actually working on a pay stack payment option, all right, so that you can pay. I didn't plan for this, honestly. I didn't plan for this, though I have all of this. If I show you the materials that, because I've been working with Excel, I've been working using Excel for a lot of, in fact, before my HR career, okay, before my HR. So every now and then, I take my time to design. I like to do practical sessions on the things I've learned. So that's I have a whole lot of data that we're going to put our hands on. So for those that are outside Nigeria, I'm going to make that option possible in the coming week, hopefully by Monday. All right, but do well to communicate with me so that I can know that, okay, yeah, serious about it. All right. What else do I want to share? So that's the link to register. Okay, I've just pasted in the comment box. Is there any other thing I feel like should share with us? Okay, do you have any question? Do you have any question, please? I'm just reading through now. Okay, slides for today. Slides for today. I'm still thinking. Okay, I'm still thinking about sharing this document. Now, the reason why I feel very what's it called now? Careful about sharing some of these documents because I use them for sessions, okay? And I'm not even scared that it will be replicated. I'll be very happy if you actually read them through and they offer to you. But I'm just careful that not everybody would actually make good use of it. That's just it. For example, I've sent the link to the video right since I think 4 days ago, 5 days ago. But up to today, certain persons have not actually even watched. This is a free video that will give you value, okay, but they've not watched. So I had to take it off. Now, the reason why the video is not off is not deliberate. So there's a limit to the cloud storage that I have on Zoom, and then I still need today's session to be recorded. I had other sessions earlier today, and then so I want them recorded. That's why I had to delete the previous session, but they're on YouTube, okay? So just follow that. Just check on the channel name, Excel Stack. You see the videos they are up, including today's session. You're going to see it up there, okay? Okay, all right. Okay, thank you, Tolu. Thank you, Tolu. All right, so that's that. I have the number of persons that registered for this first program. I had about 2,000 plus, but unfortunately, I don't even have up to it. I don't have up to less than 1,000. Let me just put less than 1,000 that attended the first session. I had other sessions before this particular one. So that's that, guys. If you have questions, I'm always available to communicate via email, okay, or call. So you can check on any of my previous emails to you. You see at my signature, you see my email address, okay. So just feel free to send emails or give a call. I would do well to respond, okay. Okay. So this data validation, it was very painful that couldn't talk about it. It was also very painful that I couldn't touch VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, XLOOKUP functions, reference. I couldn't talk about all of these things that actually planned. Even there are some test functions that I believe that I should talk about. Now, if you're a beginner, I can tell you that the second program is also very, 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 in fact, it is very good for you because by the time we would add you to the community, that's the group, you can ask questions, and I'm not just the only person that can answer your question. Others that know more than you, they can answer your question, all right? So that's why it is very important for you to be in that session, okay? All right, so once again, thank you for joining me. That's that. I'll be communicating across via email during the week as we progress. But like I said, please don't wait till September 25th to do your registration. Okay, it might close before then. If I think I already have the number of persons that I need for the session. You know, there's a way teacher to class ratio has effect on the learning. Okay, so that's why I had to split the group into different. I had to split all the people that registered into different groups. All right. Okay, so we'll be closing right away. I'm not going to take attendance for today. I'm not going to take attendance for this is the last session. So I'll be sending the what's it called, the link to the watch to everybody. In fact, last one I also did to everybody. Okay, I still believe that even if you have not attended, you can still watch and play around and catch up. But one of the reasons why I feel you should still attend the second session is because of the examples, the practical examples, the projects. I'm going to pair you with at least one person. You guys will work together. I'm going to give you personal projects as well that you're going to work on. We're going to cover the topics that we've not covered. We're going to have 8 sessions, okay? And of course, they are not limited to the sessions alone, because during the week on the groups, we can also talk. We're going to have quiz, okay? Different quizzes. We could use we're going to use online game platforms like Kahoot to create our quizzes, okay, that we can actually run. All right, so that is that. Thank you, everybody. I wish you all the best in your endeavors at work. For those that are looking for jobs, um, well, I wish you the best. I believe your knowledge of Excel will give you a leverage. All right, it's going to be a hedge, an hedge for you, for your against your peers that are also looking for jobs but do not have the knowledge of Excel. All right, so Adara, please check my email signature. You would get my phone number. Okay, thank you. All right, so please go ahead, register, and then I would follow up once you register, or any of my, I have a number of persons that are also working with me, and they will ensure to stay in touch. All right, so we'll be ending the meeting right away. You can exit, the meeting, and then thank you for being a part of this entire program. All right, bye.